Late last year, Trump put out a national security strategy for the United States of America. And one of the things that he talked about was that the United States was going to pull out of the Middle East and we were going to focus on Latin America. So, me, like many people right now, are wondering, why are we in the Middle East? Now, I've made a few videos about this and how I feel. I think they were live, so I may have to download them and re-upload them as regular videos. But I want to give my thoughts on what is happening in the Middle East right now, because I'm just at a point now where I just don't simply believe things as I hear them reported. If everybody agrees, I'm even more skeptical. I look back to 9/11 and I think that everybody at the time agreed on what had happened. And now we have all kinds of questions, even though we all feel like we watched it play out. Um, so I decided to apply my knowledge and ability to see patterns to try to figure out what I think is really going on. This is just my hypothesis, but I want to tell a story the way it's forming in my mind. One of the things that we know Trump is very good at is setting people, he's good at setting people up. He's good at using their own past against them, using their own words against them. Sometimes I wonder if he's done it on purpose. I think it's genius. He used the term reciprocal tariffs and had everybody slamming him, only to find that we drag out Nancy Pelosi talking about reciprocal tariffs 30 some years ago. The same language. And this is not the first time he had done that. So it's very often that he will use the same language that they were using long time ago and make them literally argue against themselves, and they look like complete and total fools. So I've just noticed over and over again that Trump is very good at the setup. Now, I'm not defending him. I did not vote for him in 2024. And the reason why is because I'm just a person that has to deal in truth. And if he has a plan that he's trying to work out, to be fair, he hasn't driven home any of these setups yet, because when you set somebody up, it's like chess. You finally want to get to the checkmate, and we definitely have not got there, but I hope we will. We need to get there. But imagine Donald Trump coming in, and in his first presidency, he tried to get the U.S. out of the Middle East. And he couldn't get us out of the Middle East. He had his own people lying to him. He had, people trying to put resolutions forward to support him bringing troops home, and they would go down. They'd be voted down. So now our bases in the Middle East are being destroyed, and everybody is, chomping at the bit, banging their war drums. To be fair, in my opinion, acting like complete and total fools, while American bases in the Middle East are being evacuated and destroyed. Now, before I get to the possible casualties, both American, Iranian, and Israeli, I just want to talk about for a minute, what if these bases are never rebuilt? If he's going to try to get people out of the Middle East, and he's said it many times, and he's coming up against all kinds of opposition, why not let Iran destroy them for us? And then, never rebuild them. I'm just saying, this is the way that I'm wondering if it's going down. Now let's move on to people saying that Trump is in Israel's pocket. Where in history do we have any record of Trump being anybody's bitch at all? Anybody's. And so now suddenly he's Israel's? over money? I don't see it. I don't see it. It just doesn't make any sense. It's not part of his pattern. I don't think that he would be trying to hold together his coalition in the Republican Party that hard that he would actually literally go to war. It doesn't make any sense, you guys. So sometimes I just realize that when Trump is talking, he's just not talking to MAGA and he's playing some kind of role. I don't like it. Don't get me wrong. I do not like it, but I think he's playing some kind of role and he's talking to the swamp. Because they will eat all of this up. These people are psycho. And he says that all the time. And if you look at how they're acting right now, the media, the press, everyone, they're acting like psychos. And that includes many on the right side as well. And, I hope they're playing along because I would hate to think they're this gullible. There are many content creators that I think are intelligent people who are a little bit too bought in on the Iran strategy, even though all of the reasons that he's given are reasons that have existed when we were all saying no more war. He hasn't given us anything new. So imagine, you will, if you were to just flip the countries and everything that he's saying about Iran, you just apply that to Israel. Because there was no chance that Iran could beat the United States in a war, just an air war. And I don't think that they thought they could. But they maybe would be happy to just not be surrounded by the United States, who already has published a document saying that we want to be out of the Middle East. What if these talks with Iran and Russia, what if they were strategizing for something totally different than what we're seeing? They were strategizing for a show, and I use the term show in air quotes, that everybody would buy into. While our bases are being destroyed, you've got people on the left and the right, cheering it on, saying one thing or another. It wouldn't even surprise me if some of these people are not even dead. Because, after the Charlie Kirk assassination, after the Trump attempted assassination, after the Epstein jail video, everything could be AI now. And I just don't accept it. I don't care whether Grok says it's AI or Chat GPT says it is or it isn't. I don't care. I don't care about any of that. I trust my instincts more than I trust AI. And I don't trust AI anyway. They get it wrong all the time. It's very programmed in my experience dealing with it. But anyway, if you apply everything that Trump is saying about Iran and apply it to Israel, then it will make perfect sense. Don't get me started about the video. I think I made a video about this. I'm not sure, but I will tell you that Israel was holding Americans hostage in June last year. It was very public, but not reported. Scott from CNN, I forget his last name. He's the conservative on Abby Phillips' show. Scott Jennings, he made a video saying that he was trapped in Israel during the 12-day war, if you want to call it that. I believe Caitlyn Jenner also reported being stuck there. And as soon as flights were in the air, even though we didn't necessarily know at the time that flights were in the air, there was an article that came out about Americans being evacuated from Israel. The transportation minister in Israel had went on TV and made an announcement that no one was going to be allowed to leave. And that included Americans. They suspended all flights. So when Trump talks about and Marco Rubio talks about taking hostages, he's not talking about Iran. Is anybody aware of any Iranian hostages, American hostages in Iran since like the 1970s or 80s? I'm not. If somebody else is, put it in the comments. I'm not aware of any. But I know that even though it was not reported as such, Israel was holding Americans hostage in June during the 12-day war. I don't know how many, but the State Department did end up evacuating them. And I believe they were holding hostages from other countries there as well, because I continued to follow these reports of India evacuating people and a couple of other countries evacuating people from Israel after the U.S. allegedly bombed and obliterated their nuclear sites. So again, he's not talking to us. Recently, he said something about cutting heads off of babies. Now, if you look at what's out there about the Epstein files, you don't see any such gruesome things like that about anything from Iran. If you want to know where, I don't want to say any countries attached to it, but I will let you go and do the digging on your own to see what you find about that. So I made a video about a dream that I had, and I'm tying in together with the dream my thoughts, which I've had for a long time, actually. It's just taking a very long time, that the United States is involved to try to help protect the Iranians. I'm not saying that the Israelis, the innocent civilians there, don't need protection. I'm sure that there are many. They have bomb shelters. I don't know how effective they are. I am imagining that from just a psychological perspective, having missiles coming over and living in bomb shelters, I'm not even going to try to understand the horror of that. But I also know that for Israelis, this has been something that's been going on for decades. So I just don't know. But I think, and I made a video about this too, when some of the Trump social media posts during the 12-day war, where he was giving direction to Iranians on what they needed to do, what they needed to watch for. And then he said he controls the skies. Well, if the U.S. controls the skies, they can decide and shoot down other people who are coming to do things. I'm just saying, I'm not entirely sure that the United States is not protecting Iranians. I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but it makes more sense to me than we're trying to destroy and flatten a country of 90 million people for absolutely no given reason. I don't see that. Bombing water treatment plants, it just doesn't make any sense. So when Trump says they were going to do it anyway, they were going to attack anyway, I think he's talking about Israel, not Iran. And maybe, maybe they have some false flags. And I'm not here to, I didn't pick the countries involved in this. Okay. These are the countries that are involved, and I'm analyzing it in a way that I have not seen it analyzed, and analyzing Trump's behavior and how him and his entire team, frankly, everybody, none of them seem like they're acting normal to me, although I have a much better baseline for Trump's behavior than I do for people like Pete Hegseth, who, frankly, to me seems like he's having a very tough time. Marco Rubio doesn't seem like he's having a very tough time, but he sounds like a moron with some of the things that he's saying. And now Republicans are reading from a script, like short-term pain for long-term gain. Like, who does that but the Democrats? The Democrats are the ones that have a script where everybody's using the same words. We've all seen the videos. So I don't know what's going on, but I wanted to make a video and talk about it and have other people hear out what I'm saying and tell me what you think. If we look at Trump's pattern and all the things that he said, he did not suddenly become some other country's bitch. Certainly not. By the way, Israel's a small country. They have a small population. And while they may have a lot of economic power, you guys know that Trump knows you can't eat money. Okay. You can't eat money. Trump believes in building things. He believes in the sweat of a man's brow. That's his mindset. That's why he wants factories built in the United States. Trump is not eating Israeli money. Okay. All right. He's not. This doesn't make any sense. Trump is not that guy. He actually builds physical things. He doesn't eat money, so he's not doing this over money. And Trump has been an outsider even in his own party, so why would he be trying to protect them? I don't see that as being part of the pattern. What I do see as being part of the pattern is the setup. And they've been preparing us for this by all these other garbage AI videos they've given us. The Epstein jail video, like all of the nonsense, the feigned incompetence, things that no right-thinking person believes is even real, or even believes that they intended for us to think it was real, if you really think that Kash Patel, Dan Bongino put out this jail video of Epstein that they were telling us was going to prove everything they were saying, he took his own life, and that the video that they put out, which was obviously cut, edited, chopped up to pieces, if you thought that they thought we were going to believe that, no, they didn't. They allowed us to discredit it while staying quiet. And I haven't been online much to look at the war analysis. I think people are much more careful about that. People are arguing the merits of it one way or the other, which I think they should. But I just see this as, I've been saying for probably, it's been close to a year now that I've been saying that there is a divorce incoming from the United States and Israel. And maybe it'll be a much nastier divorce. Nasty divorces can take a long time in court. You can spend years going through a nasty divorce, lots of things to sort out. But I've been saying it. I have the receipts. Maybe one day I'll make a video about the receipts of me posting about this for a long time. I see a divorce incoming between the United States and Israel. Israel is a tiny country. I believe they're acting on behalf of globalists, just in general. I think globalists have their satellites all over the place, and they prop the countries up, allow them to have a certain level of power, influence, prosperity, and in exchange for that, they have to, fight wars. That's what the United States has been doing, isn't it? We've been very, very prosperous over a long period of time, and we've been slowly eaten away by having to fight World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Iraq I, Iraq II, Syria, Libya, like one war after another, and war on drugs, all of those different things. And it has chipped away at our country. And I imagine that there are other countries as well. But when somebody owns you, it's very difficult to stop doing what they say. People will say when you're leaving an abusive partner, that's the most dangerous time. And everyone has to go, I've learned that I can't make other people see patterns the way that I see them and connect dots the way that I can. This is something I'm going to say either a person has to either have it or they don't have it, or if they don't have it, that they have to learn it and sort of figure it out on their own. All I can tell you is that I've never been wrong about the pattern. Sometimes I say, that the profile, the pattern is never wrong. Sometimes it's incomplete. Sometimes there's information that I don't know. And I've been looking for additional information for, like I said, almost a year now, really longer than that, because it goes all the way back to COVID. I've been looking for other information to say, why is this pattern correct? Like, why would this particular behavior match with this person's pattern? And Trump has been famous for a long time. He's been well known for a long time. He's done lots of interviews. He's, posted on social media since, probably 2011 or 12. So there's a lot of material for Trump, a lot of material for him, unlike some of the other people. And I cannot find anything to make this pattern fit, but it does fit into the pattern of a setup. That does fit. So you guys let me know what you think. I'm making this video on Monday, March the 9th. Right now it's about 10:30 p.m. I may not get it uploaded until the 10th of March, but I'm going to try to get it uploaded tonight. And I hope that people will see this and let me know what you think. It's fine if it sounds wacky. I believe that it does sound wacky, I'll be honest with you. And I rage post against this intervention regularly when I do go on social media. I think it's absolutely insane. But that's just practice, because I feel like you should never just be trusting your government. You should always seek to hold them accountable if they're doing things that you think they shouldn't do. And so that's what I'm doing. And if I'm right, then I've practice. If I'm wrong and there is something, then I'll just be willing to say, hey, you know what? This is what I got right. This is what I got wrong. I got no problem with that. To be honest, I hope that I don't know if I hope I'm right or wrong. I hope that this one is right and my social media posts are wrong. So with that, I'm going to end the video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.